What is an oscilloscope and how to use it? In this video, we will walk through several examples where the oscilloscope shows its real value, debug on power lines, how to correctly set up your probes, some safety tips, how to avoid noise on the probes, triggers, and many more. So stay close and watch this video until the end. You will enjoy. What is the difference between a multimeter and an oscilloscope? This is an example of measuring the voltage of a power supply using the multimeter. The multimeter shows the value of the voltage at one point in time. Let's connect the oscilloscope to the probe first, and the probes to the power supply. The oscilloscope can see the power noise, the ripples, WM, pulse width modulation, sine waves, triangles, and many more. Let's dive into the main characteristics of the oscilloscope and see the main functions it can do. The oscilloscope has two main important settings: the voltage scale, the time scale. By rotating this knob, you control the voltage per divisions on the screen. And by rotating this knob, you adjust the offset of the signal. You adjust the 0 point on the scale. From these buttons, you can select the channels you want to apply the changes. You can have multiple channels with different settings. This knob sets the time per division. By rotating it, we control the position of our measured signal. And from this knob here, we can control our horizontal alignment. Oscilloscopes can have a variety of channels: 1, 2, 3, 4. Oscilloscopes can also have a variety of frequency ranges. What is acquisition rate? Remember that an oscilloscope takes measurements on the voltage across multiple points in time. You can compare this with the resolution of a photo camera. Why is this important? Because depending on the needs, sometimes between 2 points in time you need more details on the signal. The higher the acquisition rate, the better. But this comes at a cost. Higher rate oscilloscopes are expensive. For a hobbyist or general debug, few tens of megahertz and 1 giga sample is enough, so don't get scared. For measuring signals and voltages, we need to connect measuring probes. These come in a variety of models and types. These are differential probes, and I will show you how to use these. This is how we connect the probes to the voltages we want to measure. This is the probe adapter. We use it to connect two wires, to pin headers. But if we remove the probe adapter, we have access to the probe tip. We can directly use the probe tip to measure across small contact points. Direct contact on small component pins, like SMD chips. Beside the tip, the probe also has a hookup wire, used for connecting the negative terminal of the oscilloscope to the circuit. This connects to ground via wires or pin headers. Hello folks, thank you for watching this video. If you got up to this point, you may probably wonder why I should use an oscilloscope instead of a multimeter. Well, the answer is not easy. It depends very much on what you are doing in your project, what you are searching for. Like we saw with the oscilloscope, you can see dynamic events, things that are happening very fast on a shorter period of time. You cannot see these with an ordinary multimeter. And to give some practical approach to the usage of an oscilloscope, let me give you an example from my side on a recent project that I have been working for. And here, without the help of an oscilloscope, I could not identify the problem. This is a DIY thermal camera project. My problem was the camera, after being plugged into the USB port, showed a random behavior. It was floppy. My first thought was to check the power supply lines. So I connected my multimeter to measure the voltage coming from the USB port. As you can see, there is not much to show. The value itself doesn't tell much. But if we measure the same voltage with an oscilloscope, we can see more information. By seeing this, we can conclude the power supply is dropping quite significant when it shouldn't. In my case, this happened because I forgot to place a capacitor on the circuit during the design phase. After placing the capacitor and fixing the design, the results were good and the noise disappeared. We can see now the thermal camera is working fine. And by the way, I'll be making a video on how I've constructed this thermal camera, so stay close. The main takeaway from this With the help of an oscilloscope, we can identify dynamic events on our signals. Okay, but what happens if you want to measure a voltage tied with another event? For this, we have the trigger functions available. We have the trigger knob where we can set the trigger level. And we have the button for selecting the trigger modes. Here we have three types of event: rising edge, falling edge, trigger on both edges. Now that we've covered the trigger functionality, let's see how these actually work. When the condition level and the type of edge are met, the oscilloscope takes a measurement during that specific moment and remains there. It's like a trigger, an arm trigger, and it stays there, so we can visualize the event. It basically takes a snapshot. Let me show you a practical example where the trigger function is useful. This is another project of mine. The goal was to check the level of the high voltage discharge circuit during the unplug of the USB power supply. For this type of measurement, I needed two channels on the oscilloscope. The first channel was connected to the USB power supply, and the second channel was connected to the high voltage. For this, I had configured the trigger to take a measurement of the main power supply when it drops under 3 volts. Now we need to configure the trigger on the falling edge of the signal. After we finish the setup for the trigger, we need to arm the oscilloscope by pressing the single button. In this state, the oscilloscope will just sit there and wait for that event, like you can see in the video. Now I will unplug everything and let's see what happens. The oscilloscope triggered, and we can see the run stop button has become red, signaling us that the event occurred. Now this is the overall results, and from here we can analyze what happened with the signals. This is one of the major advantages of having an oscilloscope. Now that I've shown you the basic usage of the instrument itself, I want to talk again about the probes and show you a small detail that sometimes can matter. You probably noticed that the probes have this slide button here. What is this? What does 1 and 10 means? This is actually a division ratio, and it's used to protect the instrument from applying higher voltage to the input that it can handle. This is a divider switch. In the sketch we can see the voltage is reduced 10 times to the scope. After selecting the switch on the probe side, we need to update the division ratio on the oscilloscope settings as well. Let's do a quick demonstration. Let's take this battery and measure firstly with the multimeter. We roughly measure 24 volts. Now let's do the same measurement but with the oscilloscope. I will connect the adapters and the probes. I will just put a measurement on the scope to see the value on the screen. The probe is set to 1 and we measure roughly 24.4. Now a quick demonstration to see what happens if the settings on the scope doesn't match the ones in the probe. Here I set the scope to 10. The probe is to 1 and we can see the value. We see it's 10 times higher. This is something to keep in mind when working with divisions. Another useful information when performing measurements is related to introduction of unintentional noise in the circuits we want to measure. This happens because of the ground clip wire that has a certain length and acts like an antenna, capturing the noise from the surroundings. Let's see a practical example where we want to measure the ripple of a switching power supply. For this example I will be using two probes, one with the clip wire and one with the adapter. I will attempt now to measure with both probes in the same time so we can see the difference. These are the measurements. We have the same settings on the vertical scale, 50 millivolts. Now this is a huge difference. The green channel is using the ground wire clip. The yellow one uses the short spring adapter. Before closing this video, I want to show you something related to safety. This is the socket where you connect your mains power. This is the earth pin, and this connects to your probe directly. And here from the probe we can see it goes straight to your ground clip. This is a typical power stage with a full bridge. We have the 4 transistors, and let's say we want to measure the high side transistor, gate 3. This is the probe tip, and this is the probe ground wire. The ground wire from the oscilloscope's connector, it's internally connected to the earth from the socket plug. This goes to your mains distribution line. And pay close attention that this at a point on your distribution network is somehow tied with your neutral line. So they are basically the same thing. These two, we can consider them as being equal. Let's see here what happens when G3 transistor closes. It will apply a potential. Here we have the bus rectifier, DC. When this thing closes, it will apply current through the probe, through the neutral. Here we have the phase, and it's a forward bias on this diode here. So we are basically doing a short circuit between this line and this line through this transistor and through our scope. Be aware that this is very hazardous. Here we have two scenarios where we can avoid the problem with the ground and the neutral. The first one uses a differential probe, and the second one uses an isolation transformer here. So by using such a device when working with high voltage and floating potential nodes, use one of these. Of course, another alternative to this is to use a scope that has the channels isolated, galvanically isolated. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop me a comment and tell me what you think. Thank you very much.